What's it take to run the Boston Marathon? Trust me, I will never know. But an 18-year-old from Jericho who had never run a marathon before except on a treadmill does. We're getting all the details today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. When he was a middle schooler during COVID to earn a gaming system monitor, my guest today wagered his dad he could run a marathon on a treadmill. That's 26.2 miles. At first, his family humored him, but when he hit mile 17, realizing he was really going to do it, they got invested. You can say that to this day, marathons remain a family affair. When he crossed the finish line in Boston, his mom, dad, and brother Max were all there to celebrate. My guest today is Zane White, and this year he was the youngest Vermonter running the Boston Marathon. In June, Zane will graduate from Mount Mansfield Union High School. Zane White, welcome to Across the Fence.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you. And I have to mention that we just discovered a connection, which is that you were born in
San Diego.
San Diego. So here you go. So from San Diego to Vermont, it's the perfect connection. And two runners, yay! Although you're much better than I am. Okay, so now technically, actually, the Boston Marathon was already a family affair because that comes down to your brother Max and your mom Brooke. Yeah, your mom had been running it.
Yes, my mom ran it 5 or 6 times, and she also ran a couple other majors.
And that was on behalf of your brother Max. You want to tell us a little how it all came to be?
Yeah, so my brother has been a patient at Boston Children's Hospital since he was like 5, so at least 10 years. And yeah, he has a rare genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, EDS is how I say it, because it's a pretty
good. EDS, that works.
Word. So yeah, he's pretty much had to spend a lot of his life going to that hospital, and it's a really remarkable place. And my mom just felt inspired to give back, and Miles for Miracles is a charity program there where you can run major marathons and raise money for the hospital.
That's wonderful. So how many times did she run it?
She ran Boston. She's run, for Miles for Miracles, she's ran 8 marathons for them.
Wow.
And she's run 5 Boston.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. But then she was put out of commission by an injury herself.
Yes. In 2021 was her last Boston Marathon. She had cardiac issues. When she crossed the finish line, she collapsed. And it's like something to do with long COVID symptoms.
Yeah. There's a lot of people had cardiac issues that remained after COVID. Okay.
So she has been told not to run until further notice.
And yet then COVID was then this transition moment, because that's when you ran your first marathon on a treadmill.
Yes, at 13.
And at 13.
It was 12 or 13. It's a little hard to remember, but it was like the summer of COVID, which was probably 12. It was probably 12. And
so then did that put the idea in your mind that you would eventually run?
I always knew it. I always knew, like, even when I first watched her run it, I had to have been like 8 or something. Her first Boston Marathon, and it was so like surreal down there. It's such a cool day in Boston, and I was like, I want to do this, like, and to see like what she was doing and what she was doing it for. There's a banquet right before the marathon for Miles for Miracles, and they show like all the kids saying thank you, and they show like what you're really doing it for, and it was. And we go there every year. It always inspires me. It's like I always knew I was going to do it.
That's really incredible. Yeah. And Max is your younger brother.
Yes.
And so he's 16?
16 years old, yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you had to wait until you were 18.
Yeah.
In order, because that's the cutoff age.
That's the minimum age requirement for any major marathon.
And so did you then, now in order to run Boston, people sometimes have to have qualifying times. You have to run in other major races.
Yeah.
But Miles for Miracles and the program with Boston Children's then gives you a different way to be able to run?
Yeah, so for most majors, there's charity programs that get bibs. They only have a certain select amount of bibs that they can give, so you have to apply. But because of how much money my mom, raised for them, and my past of running 2 marathons on a treadmill.
Oh wait, you did it twice on the treadmill?
I did it twice, yeah. I did it one more time when I was 15.
Okay.
Freshman year of high school.
Just to see if you could still do it?
Yeah, just to see if I could still do it. There was no bet on that one.
No gaming systems on the line. Okay.
So yeah, they accepted me. I got my bill.
That's pretty amazing. So your mother actually raised, $150,000
It
over
was
the years?
between 125 and 150.
That's really remarkable.
Yeah.
So when Miles for Miracles heard that you were interested in running, they were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we know this. We know
Yeah,
this
we know
kid.
this guy. Yeah,
We can get behind
my
that."
mom is really close with all the coaches and all the people who kind of organize it. So
Okay.
yeah, it was.
Okay.
So they knew my story.
And it sounds like then, okay, so you say coaches. So does that mean there was a little bit of training infrastructure and everything behind?
For sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's about 200 runners for Miles for Miracles each year. Actually, I think it used to be smaller. I think they've upped it. But yeah, they give you 5 coaches, and they're just there to help. They do the long runs with you, and you know, people get injured every year, and yeah, they build this schedule for you, which is so nice because last 2 marathons I didn't do any training, so I didn't even know where to start. So the schedule was so nice. I appreciate it.
So did they tell you what to eat and things too?
Yeah. They had a nutrition plan. It was so helpful.
I think this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what was your fundraising goal?
$15,000 was my fundraising goal.
Incredible, that's great. And did you know that you were the youngest Vermonter running it this year?
No.
No?
No, I didn't know till VT Digger reached out to me.
Okay.
So yeah, they did an article on me, and one of the guys emailed me and was like, "You're the youngest." I was like, "What?"
He was just thinking, I don't know, I was waiting till I was qualifying. I didn't really think about whether that was anything special.
Yeah, and I guess when I went down there, I learned there was only like 35 like 18-year-olds running the whole race, so that was weird.
Yeah.
To be like one of those.
Yes, it's very select. Yeah. Well, so for anyone who doesn't know, the Boston Marathon was just held on April 20th. But when did you start on this training program? How long did you train?
I trained from like December 1st up until I got injured.
Up until you got injured. Okay, yes, and that's a significant part of the story because this was on one of your last training runs.
Yep.
What happened?
Miles, I ran 17 miles with Miles for Miracles. I went down to Boston. I ran the hills, and I did a great run. I finished in 2 hours and 30 minutes. It was a great pace. And when I got back home to Vermont, I waited a couple days, and then I went for like a 3-mile run, just like an easy kind of whatever. And about like 2 miles into that, my knee, there was just like this sharp pain in my knee whenever I would run. I had to call one of my friends to come pick me up. Went back home, and then for about a week, I just let it rest. And eventually, I went to go see doctors. I saw a couple ortho and PT. They all agreed it was an IT band injury and that I shouldn't run till the marathon.
Until you, that is a real,
Scary.
It's scary. It's a real mental and physical therapy. I mean, if people don't know, so your IT band, it's not like you've now got torn your ACL or something.
Yeah.
It's something that just needs rest.
The only thing you can do for it is rest. And PT helps a little bit, but rest is the only thing you can really do for it.
That's amazing. So how did you feel as you were making your way to the corral to start the race?
I was terrified. I was like, what am I doing here? I did it alone. I didn't have anyone like there with me. So I was going up and I was seeing all these people that looked like professional runners, and I haven't run in like a month.
That's
So
pretty
I was
incredible.
Pretty terrified, but I was like, all right, let's do this. let's go.
I think that's where the 18-year-old attitude maybe helps out a little bit, that air of invincibility.
Definitely.
And what was running the race like?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was in a lot of pain, a lot of it, but it was still like one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. It's an experience, it really is. It's amazing. I took it all in. So running the first half was just uncomfortable in my knee. I wouldn't say it was painful. It was just like uncomfortable. I could run. Kept a pretty steady pace. And I remember I saw my parents at mile 13, which is about halfway. I gave them a hug. I saw my brother. That was awesome. And then about a mile after that, it turned from like uncomfortable to painful, like sharp pain. And it didn't take long for me to start limp running.
Oh, geez.
Which I've never done before. So I didn't really know how I was going to go, but I just had to keep this left leg straight to minimize the pain, and I would just like hop along. Slowed my pace down a lot, and I didn't make, I knew I wasn't going to make the time I wanted to, but at that point I just wanted to like get to the finish line. But I still soaked it all in. The crowds were unreal, and everyone on the sideline who could see me limping was so supportive, and like just yelling motivating things at me and keeping me going, and yeah, and just like knowing what all the people supporting me behind me, and what I was doing it for. I knew it was like bigger than
That's pretty
the 2
incredible.
hours of pain I was gonna be in.
2 hours. What kept you going?
Yeah, it was really just like all the kids I knew that were at that hospital. They show you these videos, like I said before, at the banquet, like kind of breakfast thing. They show you all these videos of all these kids like still in the hospital, like cheering you on, wishing you good luck, and it's like, how can you not finish, you know?
Well, I have to say, how can you not finish? I mean, there's people who would be like, I don't know, I'm struggling here, I would not finish. But so you just kept that image in your head.
Kept that image in my head, and it was pain. And like the other thing also about it is when I stopped to walk, for whatever reason, the pain would just be like so much more. Like you couldn't stop to walk, you had to keep running.
And probably would your like knee knock up or like lock up on you a little bit more too?
Lock up. It felt like it dropped. It was a really bad feeling. But yeah, I mean, so that kept me running, and like the crowds kept me running, and then, you know, just like it was hard for my family. Yeah, like, it really was.
Well, because you had called your mom at about mile 17 to say, what should I do? Yeah,
I called my mom at mile 17 right before the hills, because I knew the hills were coming. I was like,
this is Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah, it was. I called her. I was like, this is not ideal. I'm limping. I just passed the med tent. I put biofreeze on. It's not helping. What do I do? And I honestly don't remember a lot of it. I was so out of it. But I do remember she just like, you know, talked to me like any other conversation we had. She was like, it's gonna be okay, all this stuff, and just make it just 1 mile at a time. My dad likes to do like power lines, 1 power line at a time.
Power line at a time.
1 power line at a time.
Well, but now, so you have just graduated from or you're graduating from high school.
Yeah.
You're going to take a gap year for a bit.
Yep.
You're planning on running this again?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. But now you have a great strategy, because you will probably never have a race experience that was quite like this one before.
I really hope not. It was awful. Like the pain I was in was worst pain I've ever been in my life.
Well, you persevered, and on behalf of your brother and on behalf of all those other kids at Boston Children's Hospital, that's pretty admirable.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, it is not too late to help Zane raise even more money for Boston Children's Hospital. We have made a custom link to his fundraising page. It's still accepting donations, and you can see it right there on your screen. So Zane Smith, or Zane, why do I keep pointing for some reason? I keep wanting to call you Zane Smith. Zane White. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been wonderful to have you here today. I'm wishing you all of your success in future runs and endeavors. And as always, thank you, Vermont, for learning and exploring with me today. And thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.